Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins in 2008 in Montenegro. Two important people talk. One is Peter Devereaux, a CIA agent, and the other is a young guy named David Mason, who works for them. They are on a mission to protect someone and sit in a car. But then Devereaux gets a call with bad news. They only have 20 minutes to do something important. Devereaux asks Mason if he's ready, who gets out of the car and takes his bag. Devereaux tells an ambassador that he needs their clothes, because he thinks the ambassador might be in danger tomorrow. Mason goes into a building, and aims his gun at someone. He talks to Devereaux through a microphone, and says that the target is a man between 35 and 40 years old. He says he's in a yellow building on the left side of a tower. Devereaux gets out of the car, and people in the area welcome him. He sends a message to Mason, telling him not to shoot. He says very strongly, "Don't shoot." But Mason doesn't listen, and shoots, killing the target. Sadly, a child also dies. In 5 years' time, John Hanley, who used to be Peter Devereaux's boss, visits him. He hands Devereaux some papers, with pictures of murdered people. Hanley tells Devereaux about a killer in Moscow, and shows him a photo of a woman named Natalia, implying she got close to someone named Fedorov, after Devereaux left her. Fedorov is connected to a war crime. Hanley warns that Natalia is in danger, because she possesses information that can change everything. Devereaux is now on a secret mission, hidden even from the CIA. Meanwhile in Moscow, Natalia is with Fedorov in the Russian parliament. As Fedorov begins his speech, Natalia unlocks a safe, and takes out a box containing a pistol, cash, a wallet, and some photos related to the war crime. She quickly snaps pictures of these on her phone. Suddenly, she senses someone approaching, and hurriedly puts everything back in the safe. Fedorov's glasses are left on the table. She hands them to him, and leaves in her car. He checks the safe, and suspects someone tampered with it, likely Natalia. He orders the FSB, a Russian security team, to chase her through Moscow's streets. FSB tries to block her car, but she manages to stay inside, and Devereaux arrives on the scene. FSB members open fire, targeting Natalia. Devereaux urgently tells her to get back into the car, as the FSB team fires their guns at them, but they manage to escape. She questions why he is there, while Hanley's CIA team watches everything through drone cameras. CIA members try to identify who is with Natalia in the car. She also inquires about their daughter Lucy, and expresses how much she misses both of them. Devereaux asks her for the crucial name, and she reveals it to be Mira Filipova. He immediately informs Hanley about this on the phone, who informs Devereaux that Natalia is in danger, because one of his agents, Mason, has been ordered by the station chief to kill her. Mason arrives and opens fire on her car. As she is dying, she hands her mobile to Devereaux, leaving him devastated. He drives away in his car, checking the mobile Natalia gave him. He finds photos of a girl with a man, and removes the memory card from the mobile, throwing it out of the car. Moving on to Serbia, Belgrade, where Hanley is typing Mira Filipova's name. Security codes and access granted messages appear on the screen, along with photos of Mira and armed soldiers. Unknown assailants enter Hanley's room, and start shooting. Hanley grabs his gun from the drawer, and damages his data system, ensuring no one can access it, before he loses consciousness. Meanwhile, a CIA agent questions Mason why he didn't shoot Devereaux, when both were present at Natalia's murder scene. They had a confrontation, but neither of them pulled the trigger. The station chief raises the same question, to which Mason responds that he didn't see Devereaux as a threat. However, the station chief strongly disagrees, emphasizing that Devereaux is the type of person who wiped out Mason's entire team. He points out that Devereaux was attempting to aim his gun at Mason, and Mason's belief that he's harmless is unfounded. It's clear that both of them were avoiding shooting each other, and the chief insists they need to confront this issue. The chief, while displaying photos of Natalia, explains that she was Devereaux's beloved, and that they've put an end to her life. Devereaux has already killed 3 of their operatives, and it's highly likely he will continue pursuing them. The chief instructs Mason that he must bring an end to Devereaux. He asks if Mason has any objections, to which he replies he will carry out the orders given to him, and then leaves. Now, he is determined to eliminate Devereaux. He arrives in Belgrade, and Devereaux begins his quest for information, visiting Hanley's house. He discovers that the path to Mira Filipova leads through Alexa Fournier. Meanwhile, an assassin assigned to kill Fedorov arrives at a location, where someone informs her about Mira Filipova, who has arrived in Belgrade as a UN refugee. She's been given the identity of a social worker named Alexa Fournier. They show her photos of 2 people who are assigning work to her. Through investigation, it's revealed that Alexa has plans for lunch at a hotel with a journalist, who is gathering information on war crimes and Fedorov. Devereaux also arrives at the same hotel where they are conversing. The assassin, disguised as a waitress, approaches Alexa, claiming there's a phone call for her, and that her mobile isn't responding. Devereaux calls Alexa's mobile, and informs her that the girl with her is a killer, urging her to stay calm. He instructs her to move around and run. Mason loads his gun upon arriving at the scene. Devereaux manages to save Alexa and get her out of there. He calls Mason, and tells him he's losing control. Mason hints that they'll talk after meeting in person, but Devereaux asserts that he sets the rules. He questions Mason about how many lives he's taken, reminding him of all the lives he's ended. Devereaux breaks a car's window, and cuts a wire underneath, causing petrol to leak and the car alarm to go off, which helps Mason locate their position. A shootout ensues, but Devereaux manages to escape. Devereaux turns to Alexa, and asks about Mira. She explains that Mira was a case worker 3 years ago, and she has no idea of her current whereabouts. Devereaux inquires about a document file of the women she helped. He also asks about a man whose photo is on a board. She describes him as a corrupt individual, and Devereaux reveals he's Fedorov's right-hand man. Devereaux meets with this man, accompanied by Alexa, and informs him that he wants information about Fedorov, because he's ordering the deaths of his close associates, including the man himself. The man starts revealing the whole game, explaining that there's abundant oil in Chechnya, but Chechen terrorists are preventing access to it. He mentions a past incident, where the Russian army building was bombed, with Fedorov being the instigator of the war. Recognizing Fedorov's inability to handle the operation, he was asked to keep it a secret, as Fedorov watched them die. Mason arrives on the scene with the station chief, who discusses the phone call with Devereaux during the operation. The chief tells Mason that he has been deceived by Devereaux, and warns him that he'll soon find out what Devereaux truly thinks of him, as he shows Mason a card reader. Mason checks the card reader on his computer, finding photos of Devereaux with Natalia, and a statement indicating lack of discipline. There are other statements as well, suggesting that Mason is unfit for this operation. Devereaux confides in Alexa, revealing that the CIA is conspiring to start a war, and Mira is a witness to Fedorov's actions. He believes that thousands of lives are at stake. Opening the door of someone's house, they enter. Devereaux informs her that he cannot take her where he's going, and advises her to go to a place where no one, including him, can find her. Alexa meets with a journalist, who takes her to his location, which is adorned with newspapers and photos. She tells him about the many girls who have escaped conflict, including a girl named Mira, who was mute. Fedorov was fond of her, and wanted to keep her as a pet. Suddenly, the assassin arrives, and kills the journalist. Terrified, Alexa flees from the scene. Meanwhile, Devereaux arrives at the CIA site where Hanley is being held. Hanley claims that Alexa is in fact Mira. She has stolen the identity of Alexa. When Mason reports to the station chief, he reveals that Devereaux has a daughter named Lucy, who is now 12 years old, as shown in a photo from 5 years ago. Natalia is her biological mother, and Devereaux had adopted her. The station chief also mentions that while in Berlin, Devereaux had recruited Natalia. At that moment, the girl who had been posing as Alexa, but is actually Mira, enters. She informs Devereaux that she's going to confront Fedorov, while receiving his call. Devereaux strongly advises against it, warning her that it's akin to suicide, as Fedorov will surely kill her. However, the truth comes to light: Fedorov had murdered Mira's parents, and she had come here seeking revenge, because she miraculously survived the attack. Devereaux also arrives at the hotel, eliminating Fedorov's men. Still, he refrains from letting Fedorov die, because he intends to expose his involvement in past crimes to the world. Devereaux questions Fedorov about his support for an American operation in 1999, which aimed to impersonate Chechen terrorists. He demands to know the identity of the American agent who orchestrated it. Meanwhile, Mira continues to record videos, likely to reveal the truth. Later, Fedorov reveals that the American agent responsible is John Hanley. Mason and his agents eventually arrive at the hotel. A fierce gun battle erupts between Devereaux and Mason, with Devereaux surviving and seriously injuring Mason. He provides Mason with the mobile phone containing the video evidence of Fedorov's confession. Meanwhile, the CIA agent and Mason confront Hanley, who asks them to take a seat, while he occupies his boss's chair. Devereaux goes to Mira's location, and urges her to hide, but she refuses. He tells her that escaping is better than death, and she pleads to save her life. He tries to call his daughter Lucy, but is answered by Hanley, revealing that Lucy has been kidnapped by him. He proposes a deal, asking Devereaux to exchange Mira for his daughter. Devereaux arrives at the specified location, along with Hanley and his team. Hanley informs Devereaux that they call him the November Man, because everything ends after him. Mason is in a car with his representative, driving rapidly. One of his team agents inside the car signals for him to stop, pointing a gun at him. But Mason crashes the car into a wall. He is unharmed, but the car is severely damaged. He reaches Lucy's location, saving her life, while eliminating others. Simultaneously, Fedorov's hired assassin arrives at the railway station, to locate and kill Mira. Mira manages to escape, attacking the assassin's face with a digging tool. Mason returns to Hanley's location, where a gunfight ensues. Mason starts firing at Hanley's men, and Devereaux seizes the opportunity to snatch the gun from Hanley. Now both Devereaux and Mason point their guns at Hanley. Devereaux expresses his gratitude to Mason, and Lucy is safely reunited with her father, as they exit the car. Devereaux rushes to Mira's train station with his daughter, and they board the train. Mira's story is recorded by reporters, revealing that Fedorov killed her family when she was 15 years old, and imprisoned her for 2 years, during which she was abused. She discovered that Fedorov conspired to blow up a civilian building with John Hanley, marking the beginning of the Chechen War. The news broadcast exposes all this, with Mira serving as the key witness. Fedorov, on the other hand, is seen alive, aboard a ship. However, he is shot down by an unknown assailant, and falls in the water. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.